the I always remains the same. But then you go on to talk about this mixture, and the knower and the known are a mixture, and they're actually all the same. And so I'm not understanding. It's like, you're saying, like, okay, if I know you and I know my dog and I know my neighbor, the knower is the same, but the known, those are different. Like Girish is different than my dog and my neighbor, but then you say they're actually all the same. And so I'm not understanding.
Actually, they are the same. I know the dog. Dog is separate from the body, separate from I, the knower. I know Nick, and the Nick is separate from I am. I know the home. Home is separate from me. Well, now come to that I know the body. Do you experience the body is separate from I am? No. Why no? Because the mind is full of impurities. Here is the mixture. What is the mixture? I know the body, I'm separate from the body, but I don't experience. I experience I am the body. So here is the mixture. And that mixture comes because of ignorance. And ignorance comes because of the impurity and the delusion. How?
The mixture is not a good thing.
Huh?
So the mixture is not a good thing.
Now, why mixture is not a good thing? Mixture is
No, is that what you're saying?
No, mixture in the relative world is utility. It is for transactional reality. It is a very good thing in the transactional world. You drink water and you take a lemon water. So here is a mixture. Coke is a mixture of water plus other things. Why it is not good? What we are doing, we are searching our real self.
Okay.
So in the field of real self, this mixture causes the ignorance. The known becomes the knower. What is known? I know the car, I know the wall, I know the neck. They are separate, but still I become. When I say, here is a body, I know the mind. So there is a mixture. And then I become the body. And as long as I become the body, that is ignorance, that is false. So, in the journey of absolute reality, in the journey of the self discovery, this mixture is between the matter and the consciousness. So, the matter is inert. Matter cannot become I. The body is a matter. And as such, it appears there is a mixture, but matter and the consciousness cannot mix together. This is a very higher principle.
Yeah.
And I told you the knowledge will not stay with you as long as there is a impurity in the mind.
Sure.
And in order to remove the impurities, we have to do not only listening and learning, contemplation and reflection, but a regular practice. If we don't do the regular practice, it will not work. Even our intellect will understand the higher principle, and after listening to it after an hour, it will disappear from you. Why it will disappear? The mixture will take a shape in your mind. How it will take a shape in your mind? The body is a matter. You have an extreme pain and unusual sensation, and the mind will say, I have unusual sensation. You don't separate the body from the real life. So why it is happening? Because of the impurity of the mind. You have not reached to a state of awareness where you can separate even when you have a pain or the suffering. So when you have a pain and the suffering, you succeed in separating. So then what happens? The mind does not cause any fear, it does not struggle, it maintains the state of the calmness and the state of purity of the mind. How the purity of the mind comes? Not only by listening and learning repeatedly, but contemplation and reflection should reach to a state where my mind says, come on, do the practice now. Don't leave the practice. You wake up in the morning and the mind is wandering here and there. Purity of the mind says, no, first let me do the practice, then I will make the mind wander. That will change my behavior, attitude, and response. If we think just by listening and reading the book, it will change my mindset, answer is big no. Mind is the greatest slave, and mind is the worst master. What did I say? Mind is the worst master. You wake up in the morning, you have 5 different thoughts moving into a different direction, and you claim that now my mind is the master. Oh, should I do this? No, you do this. No, you do this. You know, no, let us do this. You have made your mind master. And that is what the impurity is. How can you change yourself as long as the mind is the master?
Yeah.
Mind is the greatest and the best when it is a slave to the intellect. Mind is the worst master. So if I make my mind a master, then the mind has to move with lot of impurities. Today in the morning you have 5 thoughts and you are struggling. The next day you have some form of anxiety. The third day the mind will invite some kind of a fear, and the fourth day, and that has been happening since our birth. We don't recognize it. Now, you told me that you did not understand the mixture. Mind, the moment you make your mind a master, it is a mixture. So, the moment you make a mind your master, okay, then the mind says, no, let me do nothing. You have forethought, let me go for a walk, let me do the practice, let me take a cup of tea and a coffee. Mind then says, don't do anything, I'm taking care of you. The mind says, I'm taking care of you, and then you sit down with doing nothing. You're wasting your time. You're wasting your morning. And you just, in the last session or before that session, you told me then I did nothing. Mind is the worst master only when it is a mixture, and the mixture is between the matter and the consciousness. And the matter cannot mix with the consciousness. There is a light. Now, does this light move? Answer is no. Light doesn't move, but I can move the light. Let me have a glass and it is reflecting outside my room, and now I move the mirror and the light moves. This mirror is the mind. Light does not move, but I feel the light is moving. This is a mixture which causes the ignorance and which causes anxiety, fear, duality, conflict, problem, suffering, all the rest. Because I feel now I am moving. No, the light is not moving. This light is I am. But we intellectually we understand. There is another way to understand. If the mind takes over the intellect, you live a worst life. Outside, because of the social position, authority, money, house, car, etc., everything is there. People outside in the society says, "Oh, what a great guy! He earns a lot of money. He has a good house. He has a good physique." But internally, I'm suffering. I have a sense of anxiety, fear, duality. I'm struggling. Nobody knows you are struggling when you wake up in the morning, but you are suffering. Why? Because the mind has taken over the intellect. And when the intellect takes over the mind, you not only stop suffering, not only you become a seeker, not only you get motivated and inspired to treat the path. We are talking of the chains inside. I don't guarantee or I don't promise that you will become physically very smart and Mr. Universe. You bring about a change inside. Your behavior, your attitude are expressed what is inside the mind. And when the mind is impure, my behavior, attitude will have the same expression. The mirror will have the same expression. Now, the movement of the mirror changes the light outside. So, this mirror is the mind. That is the mixture. So, our masters explain differently. They say knower and the known. We should understand clearly the operating principle in our life, that knower and the known are separate, always different and separate from each other. Now, because the mind says, "You see that I made your light move and then I become the body." First, I know the body. The moment I know the body, it means the known is the body. Knower is different from this body. Can I maintain this awareness? Answer is no. Why no? Because of the impurity of the mind. And as long as this impurity of the mind is there, your intellect may think, but at last it will go back to the same thing. Mind mixes, the knower and the known, causes endless suffering. I'm giving a title, just got it. I know
is the known the real self?
Yes, provided it does not change. So there begins the journey of the self-inquiry. There begins the journey of the Eastern wisdom. Your question is very interesting. It demands a deeper contemplation and reflection. So let us do it. My sense organ, my eyes looks at the form of you, the shape and the size. My ears listens to you. So the first knower is all my sense organs. They are the knower of your sound or the speech, they are the knower of your form. So that is the first knower. Now we have to check if the sense organs are the knower, do they change? If they change, that knower is a relative knower. And that relative knower cannot be the real self.
Okay.
Another point, does this knower undergoes a change? You can see it has undergone a change. I was not born with the glasses. So the sense organ has undergone a change. So whatever undergoes a change, even if it is a knower, it is not a real knower.
Right.
That demands a lot of awareness, a level of awareness and attention where the mind doesn't disturb. It disturbs because of the impurity of the mind, and we need to practice to purify the mind. So that is the first level of the knower. The sense organs are the knower of the entire world. And the sense organ undergoes a change. So, at one time, the sense organ becomes the knower, at other time, it becomes the known. Means it becomes the object. Can you tell me who knows all these sense organs? Mind knows all these sense organs. Where are your eyes? So you are aware of that. Where are your ears? You are aware of that. So the mind is the knower, the second knower, and what is the known sense organ? In the first place, when I say I see you through my eyes, my eyes become the knower. But when the mind sees the eyes, the mind becomes a known. No, mind becomes the knower, and the eyes becomes the known. So it means the sense organs have a dual role. They become the knower, they also become the known. So when you say the knower is the real self, answer is no. We have to inquire. We have to inquire whether this knower can ever become the known. The moment the knower ever becomes the known, it is not a real I, it is not a real self. So the first knower are the sense organs, but they also are the object of the mind, means the mind is the knower of all the senses. It is our common day experience. So the second knower is the mind. Now I have to inquire further if the mind is the real knower. What is the way? So the mind should not become the object or the known to someone inside me. I'm upset. Where in the mind? Who knows it? I'm happy. Who knows it? I'm stressed. Who knows it? So it
That's
means
the real self.
that is the real self. And that
What
is
do you call?
that
Is that the knower?
yes, that is the knower or a witness consciousness. or it is a choiceless awareness, or it is a pure consciousness. So
that never changes.
someone knows the mind and its different states. Whether I claim mind is frustrated, I'm aware of it. So that very awareness is the how I know it. So there must be a knower behind the mind. The knower is always behind what I know. I know the wall, so that knower is behind the wall. That is why I know the wall. So sense organs are behind the object of the world. That is why the sense organs are the knower, the first knower. And the mind is behind the sense organs, so the mind knows all the sense organs. So by reasoning, by cause and effect relationship, now we also know that the mind gets upset, mind is stressed, mind is full of pleasure. So someone knows. So someone knows is the knower. That knower has to be behind the mind. What is that? That is a consciousness. And that is what the real self is. I have to contemplate, I have to put 1,000,000 examples into the mind through contemplation and reflection. And even if you succeed in putting 50 examples, you are already absorbed into meditation. Your contemplation, reflection becomes a meditative state. We don't want to do it. Why we don't want to do it? Mixture. What is that?
Girish, hang on. Girish, hang on. I have to let this lady out, and then I have a question for you. Girish. Girish.
Yeah.
In deeps, but okay. But to me, my mind is telling me that it takes, like, for me to be awake or to be alive to know the real self. But, like, in deep sleep, where's the knower?
But
Where's the real self in deep sleep?
yes, the problem with you is that you ask beautiful questions. So it looks like I have not purified the mind and I'm asking all those crazy questions which I know you will forget it. I have already answered this question at least 10 times in the previous sessions. And you are asking the same question. I will answer it. I will answer it. Here is the lamp. Now this lamp is fused. It is not working. It does not give me the light. Where the electricity has gone? That is your answer. Where the electricity has gone? It is still there.
Nowhere.
Nowhere. It is still there. Because my mind and the body, mind is sleeping, body is sleeping, so it is a sleeping state of the mind and the body, not of the consciousness, not of the electricity that is still present. I put the blind curtain. I have put the blind curtain because it is facing to the east, and in summer it gives me too much of light. But does the sunlight has already dissolved, disappeared? No, it is still there. That is the simplest answer you can have it. So in sleep, the consciousness is not able to express itself through the mind in the body, so it appears the real self is gone. It is not gone. Electricity is not gone. The electric current is not gone. If the lamp is not working, it does not mean that electric current has gone. It is still available. You need an instrument. So in a dream state, the body sleeps and the thought, psychological, mental, and emotional reality is seen in the dream. So there the mind is active. So because this body is sleeping, so it creates a dream body. It creates a dream events. And in the waking state, all the four functions of the mind, that means the simple thinking is the mind, memory, intellect, and ego are expressed, this is a mirror, are expressed through that consciousness, and that mind throws the light there. I'm struggling, I'm fighting, I have lot of problem. But now intellectually we have understood knowledge will not stay. I've been repeating you, knowledge will not stay. Two things: as long as there is an impurity of the mind. Second, as long as the mind is the master of my life, the knowledge will not stay. Mind is the worst master. Mind is the best and the greatest slave. Your mind says, I'm struggling. Your intellect says, let me do the practice, then I will think about you whether you are struggling or not. Problem is solved. Do I have that determination? Do I have that patience? Do I have that commitment? Buddha had that commitment. Buddha saw the old man walking with a stick, deformed spine. He asked the driver, who is this? Oh, everyone has to meet the same fate. Buddha saw that he has become an old. He is walking with the stick. He contemplated and reflected. Such a fast contemplation and reflection only takes place in the purity of the mind. So he reflected as if he has become an old guy. He is walking with the stick. And then you see what he reflected. He reflected, my sense organs also become an old. They have lost their capacity to have the pleasure. Motor organs and the sense organs have lost their capacity to entertain the body. Oh my goodness, it means that pleasure is false. So when I see that pleasure is false, the mind is not going to wander here and there. Mind is not going to struggle. Oh, Buddha said to the driver, okay, I have understood. That is how my father created a sin city. He wanted me to have all kinds of pleasures so that I forget the reality. That is his reflection. Look at it. Can I have that level of reflection through the intellect? So when I have that reflection, now the mind is getting purified. Can you imagine the guy who have never seen the sick, who had never seen the old, who has never seen the dead body? He was living into that vast Las Vegas and Sin City of all kinds of pleasure. His master, his father warned all the servants that you should not talk about the old age, you should not talk about the death, you should not talk about the sick guy. And he saw for the first time, he contemplated and reflected, and he was free from all kinds of pleasure seeking. No craving, Even after for 18 years he was enjoying all those pleasures. What happens to us? Think of it. You will notice what happens to us. I forget myself in pleasure. I forget myself in craving. I forget myself whenever I have a little pain. I'm getting obsessed with seeking the pleasure from the world outside. If you look like the Buddha, so you become the seeker in the second stage. How many times we have seen the old man? How many times we have read the news that the old man died because of this one reason or the other? Anything triggers in my mind? Why? Why not? Why not? I'm sleeping. I'm sleeping even in a waking state. You are talking of the sleeping? I'm still sleeping in a waking state. And we think that, oh, we are a seeker now because I have intellectually understood. No, intellectual understanding gives me a higher level of awareness from the future. If that event takes place of struggle and anxiety, I have a power to deal with it. I can move into the state of the calmness. Yes, that is what happened to the Buddha by just one event. Then he saw the sick guy coughing and very slim, reduced to a skeleton. He asked, who is this guy? And the driver said, the horse car driver said, your dad told me not to say anything about it, but now you have already witnessed the state of the body and the mind. I have to tell you the truth. Health and the sickness are dynamic states of the body and the mind. No one can live in 100% of the state of the well-being all the time. No one can remain sick all the time. Buddha asked, will I also become sick? Yes, if you are the body, you will also become sick.
Yeah.
Now look at Buddha's intellect took over the mind. So the body is subject to health, pleasure, pain, sickness. Why the hell I have a body? How I'm explaining you, because of his future principles that he discussed. 8 Four Noble Path, Four Noble Truth, he talked about it. So I can imagine, visualize his intellect at that time. So he was contemplating inside. He did not say anything to the cart driver. And he had a smile on his face. Okay, my dad put me into all kinds of pleasures subjected by the body, and if I have a more pleasure, I will have more sickness. If I overdo any pleasure, obviously it results into a kind of exhaustion, sickness. So his intellect has taken over the mind.
Well, why do I have a body?
Why do? What did you say?
Why do I have a body?
Why do I have a yeah, yes, you go on asking the question, and you will frustrate yourself that, oh, do you think that I'm not a seeker? I'm asking such a big question.
Well, I just have questions that come to my mind. I'm not trying
Yes,
to
yes.
impress you.
So I have to ask my mind, why you are not listening what is being taught. But I will answer your questions. So today is an open session. Why do I have a body? Simply, the person who is asking this question is a crazy guy. Why he is a crazy guy? We have to answer. We have to bring the cause and effect. Did you give birth to your body?
Yeah.
Did you give birth to the water and then you are asking why there is a water? Why there is a space? Why there is a fire? Why there is a earth? Why I have a body? You're asking this question, why I have a body? Ask yourself, who recognizes that I have a body?
The knower.
Who is the knower? Here, the knower is the mind. It is not the real self. Mind recognizes. If the mind recognizes the body, then I have a body. Does the mind recognizes the body in deep sleep? Why didn't you ask the question that I don't have a body? Why in deep sleep? Tell me.
So really, what you're saying is I don't have a body.
So we draw our conclusion very fast. In deep sleep, mind is not there, so I don't know whether I have a body or I don't have a body. In waking state, mind identifies with the body and then I say I have a body. And in dream state, this body keeps lying down sleeping. The mind creates a dream body. So what you are talking about, first answer me. In deep sleep you don't have a body. Why you don't have it? In dream state you have a dream body different from this physical body. Why you have a dream body? Is that dream body real or this physical body is real? In a waking state you are asking this question, I have a body. Tell me the answer of all the three questions.
Well, in the waking state, it's the mind is able to articulate that I have a body, but that's a false knower. In the dream state, it's still the mind that is producing a dream, but the mind is a false knower, so those are both false.
So first, I have to be very clear when I say, why do I have a body? I have to be very clear. Only in the waking state, I'm asking questions. So I'm asking a question about part of my life. Part of the life also consists of dreams and the sleeping state. So where I have a dream body and I don't have a body. So it means also in deep sleep, I'm totally disconnected and separate from the body. In the dream state, I don't have this body, only in the waking state. So one conclusion is drawn easily that I am not the body. So conclusion is I am not the body. So your question is false.
Yeah, so it's a bullshit question because if I knew I was the real self, I wouldn't even ask that question. Now I understand why. Now I understand where you're coming from because that's the wrong question to ask.
Now see, after intellectually understanding, once the session is over or maybe after 1 or 2 hours, you have a pain in the body, and your mind says, I have a pain in the body, I have an anxiety, I have a fear. As long as I am attached to the body, I have fear, I have anxiety, I have duality and a conflict, and I forget everything. Now I am already drawn by the anxiety, reaction, struggle, and the fear. Why it has come? Because of my past impressions. Where the past impressions are stored, it is in the mind. What is these past impressions are called? It is known as the vasana. They are sitting there and they trigger you with a particular thought and a feeling. So you have an imagined projection, you have imagined or a projected pain and pleasure in the body, and now you are surrounded by, you have been taken over by the mind, who is asking the question, why do I have a body? You are already lost. Now the mind has already become the master. So this happens today, this happens tomorrow, and the day after, and then another question comes, why I am suffering? Now that intellect, that knowledge, that this understanding that I am not the body will never come to the mind. Now first teach me how to relax. I'm into anxiety. You will never realize that I'm attached to the body, which is the cause of my anxiety. I am the body. My mind has taken for granted I am the body. That is why I have a fear. This knowledge will never come to the mind because of these impressions has taken over. The mind is the worst master. Mind is the worst master. No, I will become aware of it. It will never happen. It will happen to the Buddha. It had happened to the Buddha. Even after that, he purified his mind for 6 years. He was committed. He was determined. He applied all the conventional methods for purification of the mind for 6 years. Awakening was just one session.
Yeah.
But for 6 years, because he enjoyed all the pleasures for 18 years in the sin city, and his mind lived unconsciously, all the craving and sensuality was there. In order to remove those impurities of the mind, it took him 6 years. And with 100% commitment, we are just doing 1 hour a session a week, and then who cares? I listen or I don't listen, I practice and I don't practice. So he realized that if I continue to stay in the kingdom, in the sin city, my dad is not going to leave me. Can you see his determination? In the midnight, he saw his beautiful wife, Yashodhara, and he saw his son. He said, bye-bye. I'm going to search the real self. I'm leaving you. I know my dad won't allow me to do this. That determination. Now we can use that symbolism in our daily life. What is that symbolism? You wake up in the morning. This is 1 hour or 2 hours of my life. Bye-bye the world outside. The God or the existence has given me a wealth, given me a good house, given me all the facilities to eat whatever I want to eat. I need not to worry for about 1 or 2 hours every day in the morning. Bye-bye the world outside. That is equivalent to leaving the kingdom and going to the forest. We have everything. We have everything in our home. The existence has given me the ability. given me the opportunity, and still I'm not doing it. I'm sorry, I'm hitting your mind very hard. It needs to be hit so that you start thinking about it. You see, the Buddha realized that no, it's not. It is not possible here. Oh, that guy whom I saw sitting at the corner of a street and absorbed into meditation, no noise, nothing disturbs him. How it is possible? I have to attain that state. And in the palace, all the disturbances will come. So he visualized. And then what happens? Then he met the master, a master who is expert in all kinds of austerity and penance, all the conventional methods for the purification of the mind. Now look at it. First rule. So, oh, you are a prince, you gave me your introduction, the master said. I forgot the name. Once I remember, I'll tell you the name. The last master who taught him mindfulness, his name is Alarkala. The previous master with whom he lived for 6 years, that master, you're a prince and you told me your story. I love it. But now we have certain rules. Will you like to follow? Buddha said, I will follow 100%. Buddha said, oh no, Master said one condition. From today you have to sleep on the floor. He was sleeping on the king side bed. The sleep number. We have a sleep number in US. And what do you say? Yes, master. Should I tell you? There are a lot of subtle principles involved. The real self cannot speak. The real self cannot express itself unless you have the mind and the body. So what is the guru? Guru means that he is representing your real self. Guru in Eastern wisdom simply means the real self cannot speak to you. Do this and do that. So it is the guru is representing your real self and you don't want to listen to it. Your mind wanders. So you are not listening to your real self. So that is why we say we have to respect, we have to adore, lot of other stuff. I'm leaving that part. That's a traditional wisdom. So the Buddha said, yes, I will do it from today. So how many times you were eating in the kingdom? Maybe 3 and 4 times. I will only give food 1 meal a day. Are you ready? If you are not ready, you can leave it. You can leave the monastery. Buddha said, yes, master, I will do it. 3 hours of practice in the morning. Will you do it? Yes, I will do it. He said yes to everything. Master said, I will check, I will examine it. Now see, the mind is filled with the pleasurable experiences of the palace. Master said, go and take rest and sleep. So his intellect remembers, I have to sleep on the floor. He slept on the floor. Ants were there, insects were there. It was very cold. Who will run away from that situation? Whose mind is impure. So So he has a determination. So where the determination and lives, and endurance lives in the intellect. So the intellect, his intellect says, I had all kinds of pleasures which I experienced in my mind through the body, and now this body is subjected to the cold and the floor. It is not me. His intellect said it is not me, and the first day went peacefully. Think, think. We have little pain here and there, and we go to 10 doctors. They do the investigation, and until the investigation report comes, I'm in the panic and the anxiety. Mind is the worst master. I could maintain my poise and calmness. Let the report come, then I will see. 1 meal a day. He won hunger and thirst. After 3 years, he was reduced to skeleton. He became so lean and thin. What his intellect said, I want to know the real self. Whether this body is reduced to skeleton or not. That determination is the fourth stage of the Buddha. The first stage full of pleasure. Second stage he encountered 4 incidents. Third stage he left the kingdom, and the fourth stage he practiced all kinds of austerity. These are the 4 stages for the Buddha only. We are not the Buddha. So these 4 stages has to be converted into 10 to 15 stages, so that we can learn slowly, step by step. That is why it is taking a time. So I have to convert them into sub steps. Oh, Buddha closed his eyes and he was sitting under a tree. Go and sit under a tree and see whether you are enlightened or not. Do you have a tree outside? Oh, there are many big trees outside Phoenix. So choose a tree and sit outside, and you will be enlightened in today night. And tomorrow you will call me, I'm enlightened, so I have no worries now. To reach to that state, he followed the 10 steps. For me, for us, those 10 steps has to be converted into maybe 20, 30 steps, depending on the level of awareness which I have. Think of this. So we just take it for granted. Buddha said this and Jesus said this. Jesus said, love is God. I have understood the love is God. Where is the love? If he said love is God, today in the morning I'm totally frustrated. Where the love is God has gone. And when I go outside, I have certain reaction to my dad where the love is God has gone. That is how we recognize our impurities. That is how we recognize our impurities in the mind. And then I'm talking to my employee and I get upset. Where the love is God has gone. If the love is God, then why should I get upset? Why I react? So to say it simply, to gossip, love is God, Jesus said, is very good thing. Gossip is very good, but it doesn't go inside. It doesn't transform me. Buddha said the same love, compassion. Love expressed is compassion. Both the masters have the same expression, but in a different variety of ways. Compassion. So you see that in the modern world, and especially in our country, there is a practice of compassion. How can you practice compassion? Are you crazy? And you practice compassion, it means you are creating compassion. And you are practicing compassion, meaning it means you are creating love. So whatever you create will die one day. Love is uncreated. Compassion is uncreated. You cannot do practice of compassion. You have to awaken to that existence which is real self, which is full of love and compassion. But again, to this principle demands minimum 5 different steps to reach. We have an open station, so that's why I'm talking. So think of this. So I have to apply the intellect. Mind is impulsive. Nature. How can I express itself? With this thought is coming. Animals are programmed by nature. They have an impulsive nature of safety, of food, of sex, and sleep. Or we can say animals are governed by the nature. We are governed by the nature plus our past impressions. Two things. We have more problem than animals. Animals are living naked. Your pet is living naked. So it says, okay, I'm okay. So I have to take over these impulses. I have to regulate it so that it does not create any conflict and confusion in my mind. And I have also to release all these past impressions or minimize the occurrence of these impressions. Then I take over the mind. Then the real journey begins. And which Buddha did just by the 4 incidents. He saw an old guy walking. We see hundreds of old guys every day. Nothing triggers in me. I'm sleeping. I'm living unconsciously, habitually. I'm governed by the nature and impulses. Oh, who cares? I don't project a good projection. This guy is walking like this. One day I will also have it. My mind is running after so many pleasures. When the sense organ will become weak, these sense organ draws the pleasure which I cannot have. When I become old, what should I do? So there the journey begins. The pleasure is not in the objects. I have to make my intellect aware of it, push the mind. Hold on. No more craving. No more craziness. No more fear of the death. And that helps you to calm down the mind. Then I live in a higher awareness. And that higher awareness helps me to treat this path. I'm just giving one example. Dead. Oh, he saw the dead man. Dead? Death? So Buddha, first time he encountered a person and a word death after 18 years. So what is this death? So the driver gave some references. Now he cannot see, he cannot live, he cannot breathe. Okay, I cannot breathe, I cannot see, I cannot feel, I cannot touch. It means all pleasures are gone. Not all pleasures are gone, all pains are also gone. So is the death a solution to all my problems and suffering? That idea struck to his mind. No, but now if the death is the solution, then I don't know whether I have found the solution or not. And his answer came in the fourth guy. The guy was sitting in meditation at the corner of the street. Oh, that is why he is searching. He is treating the path of the self-discovery. So in this very body, I can find out what is my true nature. His intellect is settled. Now the mind has become the slave. When the mind becomes the slave, you see your wife, you don't have a craving for sensuality. Your mind doesn't remind you that how many times you have sex with your wife. You see, that change has come to him. And because of that change, he has the determination, he has the endurance. And that endurance and the determination in his intellect took the decision. Bye bye, honey. Let me find the truth and I'll come back. Otherwise, you cannot leave the pleasure so easily. You are eating the pasta you like and you are getting a pleasure, and if I say stop this, you'll be angry. You'll be upset. You're disturbing my dinner. Don't do that. Why am I angry, upset? I have a wrong notion, I have a delusion that this pasta is giving me the pleasure and you are disturbing it. Buddha, exceptional cases. Buddha, Jesus, great masters have exceptional cases. They are exceptional. Can I be an exception? Think of it this week.
If you please send me the file, please.